Okay, so today, first of all, thank you everybody for viewing this video. This is another video in our Grow with Google series presented by Adams County Library. I'm really excited for this video as well. This is going to be kind of a two-for-one in this video. We're going to go over two different services. One is called Google Drawings, and the other one is called Google Forms. And they're both going to be relatively quick, but they're also really, really useful services that I want you guys to know about that allow you to not only create imagery and things like that, but also collect in data and um, view over data and things like that. So why don't we just get right into it? So first things first, we're going to talk about Google Drawings. Well, what is it and how do I access it? So Google Drawings is basically, if any of you are familiar with like Microsoft Paint, which is quite an old program, it's kind of the equivalent of that, but maybe a little more advanced. But it's basically a really nice, simple way to create imagery, whether it be like a poster or just a quick image for social media. If you need to design something, it's a nice free tool that's out there. If some of you are familiar with Microsoft Publisher, this is kind of a simplified version of that. So how do we create a Google Drawings file? And mind you, this is all connected with the Google Drive, the Google Suite, and stuff like that. So if you click on the new button there, and then you scroll down, and obviously I have Docs, Sheets, and Slide, which is what we're familiar with. But if you go to the More section, there is a whole slew of extra services that are out there. But today we're just going to go over Google Drawings. So like I said before, you'll click New because we're creating a new file, and it is going to be a drawing. So we're going to click on Google Drawings. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'm going to give you guys a brief tour, and then we're going to do a little practice run of what it's like to create an image. And today we'll use an example of a poster because that's probably the most commonly used uh, tool that you're going to use this tool for. Is probably going to make like a poster or something like that. So as a tour, as always, top left side, you need your title. And today's example is going to be about the Cat Club here in Hettinger, North Dakota. Apparently that's really important to me, so that's what we're going to make a poster about. Um, so always make sure that you title your documents or your posters or whatever you're making always at the top left there. And then also too, you have your menu bar, just as like always with Google Docs, Excel, or not Excel, Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. This menu bar is consistent across all of them. You just got to go in there, click around, see what's available, see what this whole thing can do, and we'll go over that a little more in a little bit. Also, you have your toolbar, which has your undo, redo. You can print things, you can zoom in. You have your selecting tool, which kind of works as a mouse where you can grab things and move them around. You have a line tool where you can create lines. You have different style of lines that you can create. You have a shapes tool. You can do different kinds of shapes, different arrows, even message boxes, different equation signs, things like that. You have a text box tool where you can put in text. You also have an insert image tool. And as you remember from the previous sessions, with the insert image tool, you have all these options. You can upload an image from your computer. You can search the web. You can access any photos that are on your Google Drive. You also have Google Photos, which we went over in the previous week. What a great service that once your photos are backed up on Google Photos, you can access them here and create a picture of whatever out of it, so that's really nice. You can also use your web camera, and if you have a URL, you can do that too. And then for collaboration purposes, you have the comment section. Now, this toolbar is going to change as we work on things. You're going to see some extra features, but as a whole, this is the main thing that you really need to know about. Now, before we finish with our tour, in the in your menu bar, just to go back a little bit, you have things like you can create new drawings, you can download files, you have all sorts of things. You have, like I said, you can insert things, tables, charts, diagrams, word art. You have so much stuff. You have arrangements, which is a really nice thing. So if you have you know, one image on top of the other and you want to flip it around where another one is on top of the other one, which will show you, that's there. And there's all sorts of other tools. So that is the basics as far as what we have at our disposal. Also, is to finish out the tour, we have the share and collaborate feature, which we've talked about in all the previous Google Drive Suite program series. For example, if you want to collaborate with someone, you want to work on a file with them at the same time, you can by using the share button. It works the exact same way as Google Docs, Google Slides, and Google Sheets. And again, your comments featured there. So that is a brief tour of, you know, what is here on the on your display here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a poster. Okay, and I'm going to give you guys kind of an example of how this works, how one might use it, and then you can apply it to your situation. So I need to make a poster. Most posters are about an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, your regular sheet of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and go to File, and I need this box here to be in the shape of a piece of paper. So I'm going to go down to Page Setup. And then I'm going to click on here. It has like standard, widescreen, yada, yada, yada. You'll go down to custom. Well, what is a regular sheet? It's basically an 8.5 by 11. So I'll go 8.5 by 11 inches. I'll click apply. And now I have a document that's in the shape of a piece of paper. So that way when I print it out, I don't have to worry about rescaling, sizing, cropping, or anything like that. So here I have that set up. And now I want a background, okay? So, and I don't have any image that I can work with, so I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna go find a background, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and click Insert Image, and I'm gonna go search on the web and see if I can find something. So once you click that, this search thing kind of shows up, and you can use this as a tool. It's really, really nice. I'm gonna look up cat background. All right. So we got all this. Let's see if we can find something that we really, really like. Let's see here. There we go. Perfect. So we'll insert that. And now we have this nice, cute little background, okay? So we're gonna drag that up just like that. And what I just did there, I clicked on the box and I could just grab these little blue squares here. I can click and drag them and make them as big as I want. If I double click on the image, I can actually crop it. I can move it all the way to the right, or I can move it a little bit more over here. Okay, now it fills up my entire page. Now, one thing I'm worried about is I worry that this image looks a little too busy. If I want to edit this background image, I'm gonna click on it, and I'm gonna right click on it, and I can go to Format Options. And I can do things like a recolor, where I can just have it, you know, all kind of like one generalized color. So that's really nice. We can do things like that. Let's see here. Let's say if I want to do some adjustments. Let's say if it's too bright and I want it a little darker. Or let's say if it's too dark and I want it really bright. I can adjust that here. Really, really nice. Or let's say I want it a little more transparent. I just kind of want it lightly there in the background. I can turn up my transparency. So in a little bit here, see, as you can see, it starts to kind of fade out a little bit. So we'll just use that as our light background. So now we need to start our poster for our cat club. Now that we have a background, we can start throwing on some text. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my text box tool. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to click and drag. And I'm going to put my main heading here. I'll do the Hettinger Cat Club. All right. And I have my text here, and just like Microsoft, or not Microsoft, and just like Google Docs, you can go in and you can bold your text, you can change the size of it, and you can play around with the fonts and have all sorts of fun, okay? So I have my font that I like. I'm going to make it a very large font, and I want it to be centered, okay? So there we go. So I have my title, everything's looking good, but I have more things I want to do. Let's say if I have some more text I want to add, well, I'll click the text box again, and I'll go ahead and throw something right there. I'll click and drag, let go, and I'll put weekly, or here we'll do every Friday at 4 p.m. for those of you who like to sleep in. Located at the Armory. There we go. Okay, and then let's say if I want this centered, okay? So we'll put that there. Now, that's starting to look a little busy. Let's say if I want a line in between these two pieces of text, okay? So I'll click on this line tool, and then I'll click and drag, and I'll move it across here, and I want it to end about right there. Boom, now I have my line. Looks really good, okay? But I want it, let's say I want it a little thicker, okay? So I click on it, I can go up here and explore the different options I have. Now, if you remember earlier on in the video, I talked about how this menu up here up at the top will change as I use different tools. And as you use different tools, you'll see different options pop up. So I strongly suggest you play around, try things out. But for this example, I'm just gonna make this line thicker. So I'm gonna go up here, I can change the line weight, how thick it is. I'll make it 4 pixels thick. And let's say if I want it to be more of like a red. There we go. Now I have my little red line there. It starts to look kind of nice there. Then let's see here. Let's say I need now a nice picture of a cat. Okay. So I'm going to go back to insert image. I'm going to search the web. And I'm going to do, maybe we'll just do like a cat logo or something like that. We'll see if we can find one. Perfect. Okay. So we'll use this. Go ahead, click insert. And like I said before, let's say if I don't like the color or if there's something wrong with it that I just don't like, all I have to do is right click on it, format options, and I can just simply recolor it. Now I can have that nice same color that I've been using across the entire poster so far, which is kind of this pink and dark red kind of look. And I can do that. And let's say this looks nice and all, but let's say I want this logo at the top. Well, like I have been doing, I can just move these text boxes. I can move things around a little bit. I'll move this down here. And we'll move that here. And there we go. So now we kind of have like our header, but now that I'm noticing, it's still kind of looking a bit, busy. So I'm going to go ahead and I can go in and I can do my format options again. I'm going to do a little bit more transparency, make it a little more simple. There we go. So that way those cats don't show up as much in the background. Now, let's say if I need a picture of the Hettinger Armory, let's do insert image again. I'll search the web. Hettinger, North Dakota Armory. Okay. And we'll see, maybe we can find something. Possibly, possibly not. It doesn't look like we can find anything just right offhand. Okay, so then what we'll do is we'll do, maybe there's like a picture of it on the map or something like that. We can do things like this. Like if you're familiar with screenshots, I'll do like Hettinger Armory map. And I can do North Dakota. And this is just for a real quick example here. Okay, there we go. So we found a picture. So I have my picture of the Armory here. And here, I'll open that in a new tab. Okay, it looks like we can't use that. We'll just use this picture as an example. We'll just say that that's what it's supposed to be for. And I'm going to upload that picture because I downloaded it to my computer. And I'll go ahead and find that. There we go. We'll just say that that's the map for the Armory. We can even take this text. I can copy it by right-clicking the box. If it lets me here. Okay, it looks like I got it copied, so now I should be able to paste it. We'll go like this, and I'll paste this text, and now I want to do and address, like 123 Easy Street. So now I have that. And as you can see, this is an incredibly easy system to create a poster with. And I don't really need to give you guys any further examples. This is, you know, after this, you can just keep working and putting things together. There's lots of things you can do. Like, let's say if I want to, you know, add in some shapes, I can choose a shape here, and I can have a circle here, and I can change the fill. I can do a different shape, and I can do like a call out. Okay. Go like this, and I could make a little call out bubble, something like that. And I could turn it around. But like I said, a lot of this you just got to sit and play. So then I can, like, you know, put text over top of that bubble. Let's say let's see here. If you guys remember when I was doing the arrangement thing I was talking about earlier on in the video, we talk about how certain items need to be on top of each other. Notice like this circle right here is on top of this, but let's say I want it below it for some reason. So I can click on the circle, I can go to arrange, and I can go to order, and I can send backwards. And then I can go to arrange again, order, send backwards again. And then notice how it's almost like a series of layers, and you can control what is where. Same thing with their cat here. We can arrange, order, and we can bring all the way to the front, and that way it's over top of our box. But as you can see, there's lots of things you can do here to make a really nice image. So anywho, that is a brief explanation of how the drawings works. Now, what about downloading this as a poster? Like, how do we print it or download it, share it with anybody? So all you do is you click File, and then you click Download, and you can download it as a PDF or a JPEG or whatever you like. I'll download it as a JPEG, which is your image file, and there is my poster. It's all done and ready to go. It looks nice and fantastic, and we're ready for our Hettinger Cat Club. And then last but not least, I wanted to quickly go over, again, if you want to share this with somebody instead of you know, emailing it, let's say if you want to share just this image so someone can preview it, you can click that share button and then put in email addresses, just like Google Docs, just like Google Sheets and Google Slides. You can put in email addresses or get a link that you can copy and paste, and all that works the same if people can preview what you have worked on. Okay, so that is the first thing that I wanted to go over. That is a brief introduction to Google Drawings. Now, the next one I want to go over is called Google Forms. And this one is really powerful, really useful. I use it a lot. So what is Google Forms basically? So Google Forms is like whenever you go to a website and you have to fill out a form, it'll be like name, address, or whatever, anything like that. That is a form. It's a digital form. It collects that data and puts it into some type of a database. Well, Google has created this great, simple tool that allows you to create a form and collect data and you know, share with people or whatever you're doing with that data, depending on the situation. So let's say for our cat club, I need to get people to register. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a new form, and I'm going to simply do that by clicking New, going down to More, and then I'm going to go over to Google Forms. Okay, and it's going to create a completely new form for me. All right, completely empty, and I'm going to give you guys a brief tour of what is where, and then how we create one. So as always, top left, give your form a title. So I'm going to call it Cat Club Sign Up. All right, and then once I click out of there, it automatically gives my form a title. I can put a description in here. Let's see here. Sign up to register your cat for Cat Club. Okay, so we can give it a little description here. So that's what that is. And then also to remember that whole all changes saved in Drive, just like all the other services. Anything you do gets saved automatically. Same thing with those Google Drawings that we were just doing earlier for our poster. Every change I made got saved. So that is your title. That's where that all goes. You have a few other tools up here, like you can customize the theme. Like we'll probably do more of a red because that's a little more consistent with our poster. You can even choose a header if you want to. I can choose from whatever Google has on here already. I can upload a photo from my computer. I can choose from my Google Photos if I want to. Super, super nice, super, super useful. So we have all of that at our disposal. Super, super nice. So I'll go ahead and I'll just choose this random one for fun. And you can change background colors. You can even, do font styles. I mean, you can customize this quite a bit. Super nice. So that's what that is. You also have a preview button where you can actually preview the form in a new tab. You can see what it looks like from the user's point of view, not your point of view like the creator, but from the person who's actually going to use the form. We can check the settings. There's lots of features in here. You can collect email addresses. You can do things like limiting people to one response, or you can have them do multiple responses. People can edit things after they submit them. There's tons of things here. You can do progress bars. You can even have a custom message after they're done, like, thanks for filling out the form. And you can even turn it into a quiz, especially for teachers. I know this is something that we've used at the school a little bit. You can make it into a quiz where you can assign points and all that stuff if you want to. So that's what that is. And as always, sending, sharing, collaborating, all that stuff is on this top right side. As you can see over time, all of these Google services have this consistency as far as their layout and how things work. Your tools are at the top. And then at the top right, you have that sending, sharing, collaborating button. So you can send this form to people via email, or you can get, a link. You can embed it in your own website. Super nice. You can add collaborators, just as, like before, you can work on a form together with other people. You can share it on social media easily with these buttons. There's lots of stuff here that you can go ahead and poke around on. But that is a brief overview of, those tools. So now we're going to get a little further into our form, okay? So like I talked about before, here's your title of your form and maybe a brief description. And now let's get into the building of the form actually. So we have our first question. So we can do things like, all right, name. What's your name? Well, as soon as I type name, it automatically recognizes what type of question I'm asking. It's analyzing the text and it's saying, oh, this is just a quick answer. So they're using the option of a short answer. So we'll see what that looks like from the user's point of view. I'm going to go here and I am going to refresh this page. So what does that look like? It looks just like this. So I can see the name and I can do my answer. There's other questions that you can ask. So we're going to do another one. Let's say, what would be a good one here? Let's do like, do you have a cat? All right, so you can do a simple thing such as like yes or no, or even Google gives you the option to add these questions simply by clicking on the names. Otherwise, you can just simply type them in as you want. So I can do absolutely or not yet. Okay, and then you can do others, so people can fill in their own answers for that. And also too, I kind of want to mention that with each question that you build, you have this ability to make it required. So you can make it required or optional by just turning this on or off. So which means when a person fills out the form, they have to fill out this field. Otherwise, the form will not be completed. It will not send. And they'll get a notification accordingly. So that's another thing I kind of wanted to go over. So we've asked that question. Now let's add another question. We'll click this plus button here. We have all sorts of types. As you've seen, we've done multiple choice. There's check boxes. You can do drop downs, like what color is your cat? You can do red, yellow, green. These are some really weird cat colors, but you're getting the point here. So you have all sorts of questions that you can ask in these forms. It's really, really helpful. You can do linear scales where it's like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like your cat? Okay, and then they can answer that. You know, they can do like 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, and 1 being not much, 10 being a bunch. So as you can see, there's lots of questions here. What are some other ones that we can do? There's other things like a multiple choice grid and a checkbox grid and things like that. I'm not going to get into those too much. Those are a little more advanced. There is a file upload feature where people can upload images or files to your form and then you receive them. But keep in mind, they will also need a Google account to do that. And they'll also have to put in like their email and all that stuff. So like that is something you need to keep in mind. It's really useful, but there's a small limitation to that. Also too, you have date and time. So I can put today's date. And you can do time and things like that. So I put in a few questions, but let's say if I need like an intro video or something to my form, like if I want to explain something further. On this right-hand side, I can add a video. And I can go ahead and even search YouTube, like cats. And I can go find either my video that I've created via a URL, or I can just go choose a video accordingly, and then it just gets embedded right into the form. As you can see here, I'm going to click and drag this and move this up because I want it up at the top. As you can see, that's how simple it is to move different pieces of your form around. It's just as simple as grabbing those little dots right there. Also too, you can not only do videos, you can also do images, which is as simple as clicking that. And guess what? You have a slew of options again, just like Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and Google Drawings. You can upload a picture from your computer. You can use your webcam. You can use a URL. You can actually access your Google Photos, which is super, super nice. You can do a Google image search and you can search for certain images. Really, really nice. It's so fast and so easy to put in content in here. So there's our image of our cat that's within our form. And then last but not least, the last two things I wanted to go over in here before we finish this out is you can also add in like titles. So if you have certain sections in your form, you can add in a title. Let's see here, where did that go? Right here. So let's say fill out the form below, or you could be like personal details. Okay, and then that will give this section that's below it a kind of like a heading, a kind of a way to help organize your form if it gets long. And another way that you can organize your form is also too by having like sections. So I'm going to click add section here. And what it does is it separates your forms into like more clear and clearly separated sections. So like I'll have my images and video sections, and then I'll have my information sections, and it'll separate up into multiple pages, which is really, really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that into my personal details section. All right. And then that is pretty much it as far as building your form. That's a really brief example of how that works. So now we're done with our form. Now what do we do? Well, let's go ahead and send it out. So I'm going to go ahead and click send. And I personally recommend doing the link. Okay. Now, if this link is too long, if you don't want to copy and paste such a long link, you can click shorten URL. It'll shorten it for you. You can copy and paste it, put it on Facebook or whatever you're using, your website or anything like that. Keep in mind you can still email and embed, but we're just going to use this as the example. You can copy and paste it and send it to people, and it will look something like this. All right. So the person can go through, look at all this stuff, and then you can go to the next page. Remember, I talked about that sections where it'll section certain parts out. So you can go in and you can fill it out. I'm going to quick do this. Actually, I'm going to do this twice because the next step is really, really important and useful for you. So I'm done with that form. I'm going to submit another response because I have that option checked on my form. I click next, and I'm going to just fill out one more here. Okay. And we'll give it a date, submit. Okay, so people have been filling out my form, right? Well, I can easily see those responses while I'm in my form. You know, when I go to my Google Drive and then go into this form, I can go see them simply by clicking on responses. So once you click on responses, you can see a summary of all the submissions that have been done for your form. So if, you know, you can see who's done it, you know, the ratings of, you know, percentages and all that stuff. It gives you lots of good details. You can go by question and just do it by a specific, you know, response, things like that. You can go via individual and you can look at each individual one. You can even print each individual person's responses if you need to collect that type of a database. You can turn your responses on or off, which is really nice. So it's like we're not accepting responses at the certain time. But now let's say if I want to take this to the next step and I want this in like an Excel spreadsheet form, okay? If I click on this create spreadsheet, what it does is it creates a spreadsheet of all the data that's been collected from this form. Super, super nice. So I can go ahead and click create, and it just gave me a generic automated like title for it. And now I can see every entry that's been put in there. I can see the time, and just like all my questions, the name, if they have a cat, what color it is, all of that stuff, and today's date and all that stuff. So whatever you put in there, it's going to show up in this list. So it allows you to look at that data kind of more from a zoomed out point of view. Incredibly useful, really, really helpful. So that is a brief overview of not only Google Sheets, but, or not Google Sheets, not only Google Drawings, but also Google Forms. If anybody has any questions, by all means, go ahead and get a hold of me or the library, and we would be more than happy to help you if you get stuck on anything or if you're interested or need some help. So thank you very much, and we will see you at next week's video, which will, as of right now, be our last video. And what that's going to do, we're going to introduce one more new tool, which is Google Websites, and that tool is going to encompass everything we've learned and kind of put it to really good use and kind of take everything, and we'll be able to apply it and go a whole another step forward. So I'm really looking forward to that one, and I'm really excited to hopefully see you guys there. All right. Thank you.